Today I'm going to show you how you make this vintage inspired blouse with pin tucks using my new sewing pattern, the Lily Top. I absolutely love this blouse and it's actually a really fun sewing project. You are going to start by cutting out all your fabric pieces and transferring the notches and marks from the pattern, following the guide in the sewing description. After I've put all the markings on the fabric piece, we're going to pin all the pleats right here. Usually you would sew these kind of pleats by marking the middle of the pleat and then sewing with the seam allowance on your foot. But since I am making all my patterns for international use, I wanted to make sure that everyone makes the same width of pleats. So here is what I'm going to do. I'm going to pin each pleat by the lines on the pattern, starting with the first solid line marked in the sewing description. You can sew these pin tucks however you want, just make sure that you don't alter the width of each pleat if you're using inches instead of centimeters. I'm pinning each pleat before sewing. I find this a little bit easier than pinning all of them first. If you are making the plus size version of the pattern, you are now going to do the seam in the back as well as the breast seam in the front of the pattern pieces. I highly recommend you to do this before you start inserting the lace. We are also going to make room for the lace insert. What you are going to do is you are going to measure the width of your lace. My lace is 4 centimeters. I'm going to cut where the lace insert line is. You want to keep 1 centimeter of sewing allowance at each side and then cut away the rest. My lace is 4 centimeters and I want to keep 1 centimeter of sewing allowance at each side. So I'm going to have to cut away 1 centimeter on each side. So then in total, with folding in the sewing allowance, it will make room for a lace with width about 4 centimeters. When I've done this, I'm firstly going to iron down this fold right here for the buttons. I'm also going to be ironing down the sewing allowance on the front right here, which is 1 centimeter. Here you can see all the front pieces laid out. You have to either serge or hem the raw edges and fold them in, making sure to create a 1 centimeter sewing allowance. Here you can also see how I've folded the button placket to make sure it looks neat on the inside and the outside. This is going to be stitched down later. I'm going to do this lace insert steps on the front, back and the sleeves. There's a lot of different ways to insert lace and you can do it however you want. Now I'm going to attach the lace, making sure to line up the pattern pieces at the top and the bottom. After I've sewn all the lace inserts, I'm just going to sew the shoulder seams and side seams right sides together. You can see how I do this in part 2.